Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike. Today I'm going to come at you with the Voltron from Blitzway Fry Pro Studios, the Defender of the Universe, CARBOTIX, all those names. This is the big $700 15-inch figure that includes a ton of accessories, a ton of stuff, very high quality, very solid joints. So far, I have found only a few minor QC issues, which are, you could barely even call them QC issues. But I did get this. It shows that you can get yours there too. I have a link down below where you can get yours. Let's get into looking at this guy. Here's the box, and it is huge. There's a bit of a glare because it's so shiny. It says Voltron, and it's kind of got this reflective embossed design on there. Here's the side of it. Very big. Shows Voltron. The back actually shows them in the Lion modes, so that's kind of cool. This thing is just huge. And then we get to see a little bit more. Oh, big. And it's also shipped in its own shipper box, so that Blitzway makes sure that it's going to arrive in good shape. Kind of crazy. Inside here they have Velcro straps holding things in. It's solid. This packaging is super solid, and they're making sure that you're going to get all your stuff, the instructions and all that kind of stuff. These stickers, and then getting in here, there it is. Just amazing how well it's packaged. Let's get this thing out of the box. Here it is out of the box, and as you can see, there's a lot going on. It's already in the mode to be combined, so to be combined into Voltron, and that's probably how 90% of the people are going to use this. A lot of people won't even go into the cat modes, but I'm going to do the cat modes first, then we're going to show kind of the display stand stuff, and then we'll get into combined mode and comparisons. So first off, we're going to transform this guy up, and so the first thing that we want to do is open this flap here. And get it out of the way so that we can bring the leg out, and then we're going to rock it out because it does move out. It's kind of on a joint here so it can come out, and then we want to get it out of the way so we can get clearance to close this, and then we'll push it right back up in there, and then we have this side done. So that filler, or that cover, it's really sort of a next level kind of thing, and it looks great. Now, I do want to point out this is very light in my hand. The whole set's pretty heavy. That's probably what Fans Toys should have done with their combiner, and Blitzway figured that out early on. So now with this one, we're going to, it tabs in, so you have to untab it, fold it out, and then move this leg out here. And not a ton of clearance, but the way it's designed, you can clear it. Remember, this is chrome, so you don't want to do anything to scratch the chrome, but it just feels and works pretty smooth. Works pretty smooth. Do the same thing on the other side. Get that clearance. Got to make sure the leg is up enough to get the clearance. And there it is. Tuck it in. Very nice. And then same thing here. Untab it. That does worry me. The point where it tabs is probably going to be a bit of a problem over time if you convert it and swap it around too much. That could possibly be an issue in the future, but everything is painted really nice so far. Looks really good. All right, so let's also do the tail. So we lift this up. Now, this is interesting. The tail comes out. I mean, I don't really think this is groundbreaking or anything, but what is interesting is they give us this little tool. So when we go turn it into the other mode, we're going to need this tool to kind of pull this thing out, I think. That's what it looks like. So, but push it in so till it closes, and you've got Green Lion, and I'm gonna go ahead and do Red Lion, and then we'll get into the legs. So I did Red Lion off camera to save some time, and one thing I want to reiterate that I probably wasn't clear with the Green Lion, every one of these legs has a tab on the inside here that tabs into the lion. So you want to pull out on that tab before you start turning it. So, or you could break a tab. And if you break a tab, it just won't sit in as tight. But just something to point out that I didn't point out before. Every one of these, and above the camera, every one of those has a tab that holds it in place. So you got to pull it out. And it works fine because these joints actually, the shoulders move out, so the whole thing moves out. It works fine. So let's go ahead and form the cats with the legs here. So one of the things about this is there's a heel spur that I probably will forget later, but it needs to come up to about here, and the head. Now, nice clickety ratchet on this thing, and the head will come down like so. Very nice ratchets. So let's see on this. Just very quality feel. And this is way heavier. These are way heavier than those other ones. And there's a lot more die cast in these. So wow, just feels really good. Really good. Okay, so let's get around here to untabbing this. And then I'm sure these are tabbed in the same. No, they're not tabbed in the same. There's a tab right here that goes into a slot right there. So a little bit different way they do it. And let's get this completely out of the way to tuck this in. So this is slightly different than how the arms were because of this tab is right here. So same thing on the other side. This is a tab, but it wasn't tabbed in very well. Hear that quality ratchet. Really nice. And this kind of ducks back in. So far, no paint blemishes. I'm looking for paint blemishes. I heard some people had some, and some people had quality control issues. I'm not seeing any yet, so I'm happy. I'm pretty happy so far. And then this tail folds out, and then this piece here can fold down. And I'm gonna get the blue one done off camera. All right, now for the black line. And if you've noticed, I've been putting these other cats in a good kitty pose, but I'm going to move them a little further back to kind of get them out of the way so nothing happens to them, but the posability is great. All right, starting with these lower legs here, or the rear legs, we're going to rotate it down. There's a joint right here. As you can see, it's going to rotate, which is going to actually help articulation in the bot mode. Then this is a really tight ratchet, so just go slow down to here, and then we can fold this out, and we have the hind legs. And same thing over here, it rotates down, and then really tight ratchet, just go slow. When you get tight ratchets like that, you want to take your time. Pretty simple. All right, so we've got the hind legs here. Let's go ahead and get the front ones done, and we're gonna move these out of the way and just lay them back. And then, like with all of these, we're going to rotate this around, and then we're going to open this up here, and that reveals the leg, and then we pull the leg out. So, and let me see, there's a tab right here for you to just pull, so that should work. And we do the same thing on the other side. Rotate forward, lift up from the bottom, and then pull it out. There we go. I don't think I got all that on camera. And then from there, we're going to, let's get all this flattened, and then lift the head up. And we've got the black lion, more or less, in his lion mode. I won't be seeing much of this lion mode after this review at all. But let's see if they look like it's a team. Here they are as a team in lion mode, and I think they look great. They look fantastic. I think the black lion is the worst looking of the lions. They made the sacrifice so that the combined mode would be better, and I'm fine with that. And I think that's kind of what happens with most of the black lions and most of the Voltron sets, and that's perfectly fine. So with that, the other lions do excel really well, so let's take a look at them. All right, so both of these have the same level of articulation and kind of the same kind of stuff that goes on with them. So with this, the legs, they have quite a bit of articulation to them. So you can go pretty far out, forward and back, quite a bit of range with it, and you can get quite a few poses. You do have some movement in the feet right there. The head moves all the way around. It does a lot of great stuff, and we're going to get into the lighting mechanism of that. You do have side to side, and you have an upward, like an ab crunch right there. pretty cool. And then same thing goes way out. Really good, really good. Same type of articulation in the feet, in the rear, and yeah, pretty good. So let's say you want to light the eyes up, which I'm not going to do that. So what this is there's a slot right there where you stick the light. Here is the lighting mechanism, and it's one of those that I've reviewed lightsabers that use these. They don't last very long, so if you use it, don't expect them to last very long. But you plug it together, stick it in there, then you have to use a tool to get it out. This is what the tool looks like to go in there and grab it back out. So I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to be messing with that. And since I know that those things just don't last very long, I'd rather know that I've got it, that if I ever do want to use it, then I can. And the red lion is pretty much the same as the green lion, so that's kind of how things go here. You've got a lot of reuse, and that's great. Of course, the head's different. It's squared off versus more rounded, and you do have the same articulation. And I'll show you one thing on the red one that I didn't show you. Oh no, is he? Tap back in there? Okay. One thing I will show you about him that's different, and actually his legs feel a little tighter than the green lion's legs, but you can lift this up on all of them, and that lifts up, and then you can also reveal this little place in here that has a driver, and there's a, can my camera pick it up, and can it stay open long enough? There's a driver in there. So really cool, and it's in all of them, I believe. And then you also have separate sets of pilots that are just standalone, which I'm not going to even take them out of this. You can look at them. Really cool that they included it. Really awesome. Quick comparison, the red one versus a Panache Place green, and there he is, way bigger than the original Matchbox. Of course, it's going to be way bigger, but surprised, about the same size as Panache Place, a little shorter because the legs are about the same. And yeah, pretty cool though. Looking at the yellow and blue lions, they actually have a similar type of articulation, and feels even more quality and heft because they are the legs and they're hefty. But I don't think they have an ab crunch. I haven't figured out an ab crunch in it. I mean, it looks like they've engineered it in, but I'm not going to stress it at all. So, because that to me looks like something that could be an ab crunch. I'm not that worried about it myself because I got all the poses I needed to out of these guys. So with that, we do have some side to side, but the side to side's different in the foot, and so we can go out to like there. No, it doesn't have this gimmick where the sides open up, and with this does have some, your head can go up and down, but I don't think it's really meant to. That's really just for the transformation or conversion process. Pulling the head off, there's an on and off switch, so you can see the lights, and the lights light up. So that's simple, that's easy. It uses one of these batteries here. I think they called it a CR1223 or something like that. It's in the manual, but yeah, pretty cool. You can flip it on and off, so that's not going to be a problem like those other ones, and you can replace it pretty easy. They're pretty easy to find. And just plug it right back in there, and there we go with a good kitty. Let's see where this pilot is. Lift this up, lift this back, and look at the pilot. There you go. Push down with this tab to get it started. And there it is. There's the pilot in there. Hunk. You do have a spudger included, so you can get some of this stuff. And there's another pilot. Looking great. Outstanding. There's Princess in there. Now for the black line, he doesn't really do a whole lot. I don't think I showed the tail come out, which is not a big deal, but does not have a great deal of articulation. That goes forward, the feet move, it goes out to there, which is not much, and I'm okay with it. I'm not really too upset about it. You do have ab crunch because, of course, Voltron has ab crunch, so that works fine. I think the more interesting part about this is getting them all put on the stand and watching that display. Currently, the stand is in a configuration for bot mode or combined mode, so with this, I'm going to bring this forward. We're going to take a quick look at this, throw them on there, and then get it into combined mode. Looking down here, there's a compartment. It does have a bunch of accessories. It comes with a tray that holds it in place, and a little piece of plastic, and it sort of holds everything in place, but things shift and move, and they knew that was going to happen, so that's why they kind of included this. But pretty cool that you have a compartment for all the storage. Now, all of these weapons, we're not going to look at every one of them, but a lot of them, you can get a good look at this. That's what all comes with. You can put those certain weapons on certain lions. You do have an extra combined mode face where he's yelling, so that's fun, but I'm not going to put all these weapons on there. I do worry about scratch and paint and all that kind of stuff, but for the sake of time, this is like a gimmick that we have with everything, so not really all that hard. It's actually quite simple to do. So with that, I don't want to scratch chrome, scrape the paint. I'm not going to do it, and it's not something that I display mine. So let's move on to what else this stand can do. In combined mode, you can hold the shield and sword either here or configured over on the other side. So with that, this is how I'm going to do it, because I think it looks better like this than it would if you have it just laying flat on the other side. So that's the configuration that I'm going to use. And let's go ahead and put this back on here. This is the reverse of the stand, so if you were to put this here, you can put this. So these two parts here fold out, and then you can lay this onto here. And then, since this part here on this shield is rotatable, you want to get it to where it looks like that, and then you can plug it into either side of this, and it holds in place, if that's something that you want to do. Now, getting this into a configuration, what we're going to do is reverse all of these. Slide this out, slide this on, like so. Same thing all the way around. Now, this little piece here is what clips the shield in place, or clips one of them in place. It clips the shield in place. So that's like an extra added piece that they added in. So just wanted to point that out. Trying to show everything. If I show every single piece, it's going to be like an hour-long video. I'm trying to keep it down about a half an hour. So, and just do that all the way around. And then when we get to this one here, it's the same thing. You got a piece that connects to this piece that holds the sword. It's a sword holder. So a lot of extra accessories with this guy, and everything is tight. Everything feels high quality. And then we need to put the guys on here. So let's start with Green Lion. Green Lion, what you do is you have to flip the tail in and transform it in a way, and then let's get that little tool to pull that tail out. So we're going to start transforming it, because this is the piece that holds it in. I was a little concerned about this, but trust the engineering. So plug that on there and just pull it. It works, and then you can take it the rest of the way, fold the tail up in here. I said fold the tail up in here. There it goes. And then you just plug them in, and I guess you'd want to give them some sort of an action pose, like that. And plug them in there. No! Don't drop them. Well, he's mostly plastic, so it's quite durable. So there's one. Let's see about which is next. The Yellow Lion. So, Yellow Lion, same thing, more or less. But this is actually a little bit easier with the Yellow Lion. You actually fold this thing back down. Lift this rear piece, it's like a cover, lift it up, and that's going to slot right into that. So let's get this kind of an action pose going with this guy. Do something like that, and then we're going to slide it on here, and I can't see what's going on, so let me pause it and see. So the trick, and I knew I wasn't going to just like apply any pressure to it at all if it didn't feel right. You push this button on the bottom, and that's the same way you combine it, but it's also the way you connect it to the stand there. So yeah, pretty slick. The last one's easiest of all. The Black Lion, it just has an opening right here, and you connect it to right there, so I'm going to do that. Alright, so here's the display and all set up. So if you want to display the cats like this, then you can. Makes for a pretty interesting display. And so turning it around, I would have thought, kind of think that the color should have been on the other side, but you can still see like they're all flying away. So it's a nice rear view too. So pretty good stuff, pretty cool, looks great overall. All right, getting everything put back into kind of how it came out of the box. I feel silly now because I realized that there's more articulation going on with this than I was really wanting to give it for the Black Lion. So without converting, you have this extra, all this extra going on with the upper body. And I didn't catch that. So if in Lion mode, Black Lion has way more articulation. The back still has next to none, but I didn't realize this joint was here. It's going to be like a severe butterfly. It's a severe butterfly. So let's get into converting this guy. So first off, with both of the legs, now I did find what I think is a QC issue in this, and that is these do not tab in very well. But you would never even notice the tabs that tab in. It's not tabby in both legs. Not a big deal. You want to make sure you got your heel spur out, and that's pretty much it with it. And you've got it good to go. Then we're going to need to plug in the Black Lion, but let's get Black Lion. Let's see, we're going to put the blue leg on this way, slide this in, clip it. That's nice and easy. Yellow Lion, slide this in, clip, and it's in good. And then it's not such an easy removal, but I'm not going to remove it. He's going to be like this forever for me, so no need for me to remove it. All right, now let's pan up to his upper body. And one of the things about this is that I just pointed out that I didn't realize about the butterfly in this. Now, you push this in, and then you can get this to solidify. You see how that is? So you use the butterfly joint, and this is in the instructions, to press that in. Let's get that. Well, the other side was a lot easier. There we go. That way it looks a lot cleaner and a lot smoother, and you can still use your butterfly joint with it and all that, and it should still stay together quite nicely. All right. Now, Red Lion, fold that over, and we're going to plug it in. Pretty good. Pretty solid, feels good. Same thing with Green Lion. We are going to line it up and plug it in. Feels good. Nice and tight. Nice and stout. Going to fold these pieces here. The wings out. Like with every Voltron, it's really nothing new. But one thing it does show is you can go ahead and do like a reversal of it if you want to also get like a clean look or just the usual look. So one of the things, because you do have this notch here, you could have it a reversal of it and that wouldn't show, but they would have to go up a little higher. There's options if you want to use those options. And somewhere in here a red piece fell off, and it doesn't look like a break. It looks like it plugs in somewhere, so I'm going to have to hold on to that because I don't know where it goes. A red piece just fell off of it. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the head. I form the head, open this up, fold this around, and we can also turn the eyes on. This is where it lights up, and there it is. His eyes and that all lights up together. So if you want that on, the bright lights, let's kick the brightest lights off so you can kind of see it and what's lighting up there. So there he is, combined mode. Let's go ahead and get his accessories on him and have a look at him and do the most funnest part, the comparisons. So I do want to point out there is quite a bit of paint on this guy, but not an excessive amount of paint. So with it, all of the red and the green is painted. Right here, I believe all this is painted. I do think this is just plastic, and maybe that is plastic also. Maybe that is unpainted too. But with the face, there's quite a bit of paint in there. And when the lights come on, you can see we saw that, but there's paint on the eyes and stuff. So looking pretty good right through there. Now there's a mixture of chrome and just kind of a silver paint or silver plastic. And I think they've done this so you don't just wear them down over time. So looking down here, this whole area here where a lot of stuff's going to be moving and touching and rubbing is just silver plastic. I believe no paint on that, but we have chrome, like chrome accents right here. And then down lower, we have chromed right here. And then just some, this might be plastic or paint. And then this, I believe, is just a shiny plastic. So a mixture of plastic, paint, and it looks really good the way they've done it. And I think they put a lot of thought into what joints are going to rub and an item that's going to hold up long term. And I think that means a lot to me as a long-term Voltron collector. I want an item that could be on my shelf for 25 years and still look as good as it did when it came out of the box, and I still get to pose it, do stuff like that. Real quick, before comparisons, let's do articulation. Now you can have the shoulder go way, way out, and that can go, it's a ridiculous amount of range. Obviously, you can go 360 here while he's still holding his accessory just fine. You got the bicep swivel. You do only have about this much range in the elbow. So I would have thought this could have been double jointed. And I actually thought before I got it that something slides out somewhere and the arms get a little bit longer. And they do. I thought that was a part of this. Just looking at it in pictures, I thought that's something that it did, but it doesn't do that. So the head goes all the way up, down and around. I'm really worried about those wires moving around in there, but it is what it is. And then that's about the range for the head. Oh, you can go down too. You can look down. And so I don't think anything opens up in here in this area. And the red on this, it's a little like smeared. I might need to get like something to kind of wipe that real quick. But anyway, getting down to the abdomen area, you got this. He has this ab crunch. Only can kind of go that much, that far left and right because this hinders it. It should go all the way, but that hinders it. Anyway, it's still not a horrible situation. Really tight ratchets, but you can go all the way. I just, it feels, they're so tight. I don't want to get too dynamic with it, but you can go all the way out and all the way back. There's nothing hindering it other than right here. So you can go out to about here and forward almost 90 degrees. But with that, it is a very tight ratchet, and actually so tight it's almost scary to use, which is good because you're holding this guy up. You don't have to worry about him falling off your shelf. You have the thigh swivel, you have articulation right here, and so with that, the knee is holding strong. Well, it holds about like so. I mean, it's a heavy lower leg, so yeah, maybe not as strong as I was thinking it would do. And then of course you just have, let's pan it down a bit. You have all the articulation that you would really need in the feet, and more or less just to kind of make the pose look right. So I'm pretty happy with the articulation. It's not super next level or anything articulation wise, but it looks amazing and it stands very solid. And really, that's what I want in my Voltron. So with the weapons, they plug in like normal. With a tab system, it's a very simple tab system, and you got these two which you can plug together to make one, or you can have them dual wielded. So that doesn't plug together very well, but so I guess it's an obligatory gimmick that they kind of include. But yeah, it doesn't plug together. Mine doesn't plug together very well. Starting out with the original comparisons, I've got them way back at the end of the review table so that you can see the bigger ones that are coming. But this is the original Matchbox. The original Matchbox still looks pretty decent, but this is way better proportions, looks more like the show, VAC metallized chrome everywhere like the original. Well, not everywhere. Some places it's not, but looks really good overall. And I think it's a massive improvement. So let's go on to the next evolutionary step. Here he is next to Panache Place. I thought Panache Place was a big one too. Whoa, but this is bigger, taller, and looks so much better. I never really liked the look of this guy, but I do like that you fit the pilots in it. And well, you do fit pilots in this. They're just not 3.75. Here it is next to the SOC. And next to the Soul Jigoken one, Soul Jigoken still looks pretty cool, still looks pretty good. I guess his weapons are kind of covering him. I always kind of felt like I wanted Soul Jigoken to be a lot bigger, like more like this scale, this size, and I think that's what we're getting. Basically, we're getting the SOC in a much taller and sleeker and more tune accurate version. And so, do I like this one better than SOC? Heck yes, this is what SOC should have been in my opinion. but it's twice the price. So, I mean, there's trade-off for everything. Here he is next to the Toynami version. I believe they tried to say Toynami is Masterpiece, so there it is next to the Masterpiece. I thought Toynami was okay, but I never thought it was great. It's not horrible, but it is super light and super flimsy, especially compared to this in SOC or even Matchbox. If anybody cares or is taking notes or anything, this is next to Trend Masters. Trend Masters actually made a few, but with this, they had little pilots that went in there. So kind of the same as, like, this has got little pilots that go in it too. So same size, a little bit different aesthetic though. These look so much better. But these are head articulation. So similarities there. It's kind of, it all rhymes and it's repeating itself. And I think this is throwing in pretty much everything that they saw other companies do all in one. So we got the first contender that beats them in size, and this one is the Playmates most recent version that they put out, and this one looks really good. It has its own issues, but it is taller than this guy. Size is what wins for Playmates, and I think this was around like $180 to $200 when it came out. I think you can still pick a good setup for like $250 or something, but this is the Classics version, and I think it looks amazing. I think it looks great, but it has its issues. It's lightweight, all plastic. This is super high premium, a little bit shorter, but looks and feels, wow, 4 or 5 times better. Next, we have the Trendmasters Jumbo from 1998, I believe, 88 or 89. No, 98 or 99. Anyway, this thing is it's still massive. It's still huge. It holds 3.75 inch pilots in it very well. So that's why it's so big and bulky, but doesn't look as good as this. There's one bigger. Let's look at that. So when I back it way out, you'll see extra camera equipment over in the corner or whatever. But this is the Matty Collector Voltron, and this one is the 23-inch one. It is huge. It's plagued with its own issues, but I still think it looks amazing. I think it looks really good. It has started to discolor on my shelf, but I think this one still fetches around $700. It fetches about the same price as this one on the secondary market, and theoretically it should never ever get made again, so it's a one and done. Just like most of these Voltrons are one and done and will never get made again, other than, you know, the KOs of Matchbox. But I think that this has good points to it, the Matty Collector, but then again, I don't know if I need another one that big ever again. Maybe this is the right size with the Blitzway. Alright, so now doing some comparisons of side-by-sides. This is with the vehicle Voltrons that are out there, and there's far fewer vehicle Voltrons. So on the left, that one there is, that's Miracle Metalworks, and they try to say that was the unlicensed or whatever. It had the license, just took them forever to produce it, and so they lost the license. It came out as unlicensed, even though they had the license at one point, which is ridiculous. That should never happen. Like, whatever. This is the SOC version, Soul Chogokin, from Bandai, and it is probably the best one that they've made for a vehicle Voltron out there, and rivals the vintage one. But let's take a look at the vintage one side by side. And if my math was correct, and it usually is correct, then these look good together. This is the original, I guess it was Matchbox, made this Voltron back in the 80s, and this is the vehicle Voltron, the Die Rugger, and it looks really good side by side with this. This is a nice pairing. Now, very crude when it comes to articulation and all that kind of stuff, understood. But this is a nice set. This is how I'm going to display them on my shelf side by side with these guys, because the height is just right. For the first time ever, you have a Voltron that scales with a vintage vehicle Voltron, and that works. So line butt next to vehicle butt. This is what I've looked forward to the most, oddly enough. It's really strange, the small things you look forward to in even a $700 release. So this has been my look at the Blitzway 5 Pro Studio CARBOTIX Voltron. This is a $700 purchase. It is available at Show Z. I will put a link down below. I have to say that I really like it overall. It feels very solid. They did put a lot of thought into how they're going to do the paint, how they're going to do the chrome, where the wear points are, and all of that. So it looks amazing. Aesthetically, it fits the bill. QC issues are very little. My only QC issues were the little tabs on the sides of the legs. They don't really tab in that well. A little red piece fell off, and I absolutely have no idea where it goes. It's probably a filler, and I see they have fillers all over this thing. One of the fillers fell out somewhere, and I just don't know where it goes. But aside from that, posability is limited. It's not extremely dynamically posable, so you do have some limited articulation to it. So with that, I'm okay at a point. I mean, there are still, I think I'm still finding out a little bit more articulation here and there, but there are some places like the elbows that will not do much more. And then there are some places like the legs that are really, 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 really tight. The feet will do a bit, but overall, I don't put this guy in extremely dynamic poses, and you can still get him in some excellent poses if you take your time. Be careful with it. It's very expensive. The ratchets are really, really tight, really solid in some areas. The knees are kind of weaker ratchets, but overall, I haven't had any issues with stability. He never fell over when I'm doing my comparisons. So I was really impressed with that. Impressed with a lot of things on this. It is a very expensive. The packaging, they went all out. So anyway, let me know what you think about this guy. Are you in on this guy? Are you happy with your SOC? Are you just happy with your Matchbox? Or are you into the die ruggers? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. Tadira Maker out.
The legend of Voltron, defender of the universe. A mighty robot, loved by good, feared by evil.
The Voltron force is here, and soon they'll be mine.